What up, well, DJ on the mic, what coming in with another 2.5 deck list special, and it's best girl, Cendrillmon, which I am not gonna lie, guys, I am pretty much hanging from last night's ball that she hosted down. Familiars, they be wild. They be absolutely book wild. Got me supping on Patron like it's out of fashion, and the music was so tight. I was like, yeah, boy, let me grind on that. But if you don't know what the balls are, she hosts them, and basically, whoever's the strongest and able to defeat her becomes her partner. So I'm like, yes, sir, she got her ass clapped. But who is that Digimon? And is that Digimon in this list? And this is what hopefully you guys are going to stick around and find out. So if you guys are up for a spicy list, which is going to really tilt some heads, then make sure you stick around and enjoy. And if you are new to the channel and you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell because I do videos on the reg. Right, further ado, let's lay down the cards and show you the sauce. What, yes sir? Right, let's give you that fairy tale list. Starting off with the eggs, going in with the Cendrillmon from EX7. The reason why we're running this is because we're entering a meta where effectively the enemy's DP is going to be huge insecurity, so we need to make sure that we're actually going to try and survive. So being able to minus their DP by additional 2k is going to be huge, especially with our Evo line that we have got with our other Digimon in this list. You can simply run the Wanyamon egg or the Kokomon egg if you have either a Tamer, or for the Kokomon egg, you have the other Digimon in play. You're able to minus 2k DP of an opponent's Digimon. But we're going in that meta where they essentially have that immunity, so it kind of doesn't really help if they just like, you know, it's just kind of a bit of a waste, unfortunately. So that's why I feel like this is kind of more controllable in terms of like they can't essentially negate it, which is pretty massive. So you're getting the absolute value of this egg at all times. So that concludes for that. Going over to now the rookies. I'm not going to spend too much time on these because you pretty much know what these are going to be. Starting off with the EX7 Shushu. This is just great in order for us to once again be very efficient with our memory. Evoing into a champion for the reduced cost of 1 is going to be massive for us, especially because we do run the promo Shushu, which is going to be just absolute gas right there. And then the inevitable further shrinking the opponent's DP of their Digimon insecurity by additional 2k, which in combination with the egg is going to be 5k. Then we go in with the promo shoe. This is just great for slowing the opponent down with the on play, giving them a minus security attack, which is once again really good because we do have cards that can effectively get this out from trash or play from hand. And then the actual when attacking / inevitable is going to be able to minus 2k off the opponent's Digimon. Really does come clutch, especially when we are at our top end. And then we do have the starter deck Shushu, which is obviously our primary searcher, because we are running some spicy tech options in regards to other Digimon in this list that kind of sit a little bit outside of archetype. We still kind of can get them, because obviously we can search a card, we can get a card from Liberator trait, and we can also get a card if they've got Puppet trait as well, which is once again pretty massive. On top of that, similar and helpful to the EX7 is that we're able to minus 2k DP off their security Digimon, which once again, massively huge in combination with the egg. Going over to now the champions. Champions, we're going to keep it nice and spicy. When we do run the 4 of their best champion is going to be the Shushu, the Squirrel, coming in absolutely clutch because this just is an absolute game changer. You should be running this at 4 for real, because just being propped from security, you'll be able to play it. And this is after the battles commenced, and then on top of that, able to pull out a familiar token, which this familiar token is massively helpful if you do have the starter deck Erisa out, because effectively you can give this rush and you can attack with it at the same time. But the condition here is that it will delete itself at the end of the opponent's turn. So this is why starter deck Erisa is quite crucial, because you're just getting maximum output by summoning out this familiar token. On top of that, it does have the barrier, which barrier is massive in order for our stack to kind of stay alive by trashing the top card of our security, which is massive, absolutely massive. So if it's obviously the opponent's swinging into it, you're just going to be protected and keep on board. Then we do run the free of the start deck Shushu. This is great because once again that security effect is huge. We actually get a lot of value from our security, and that's the bit that really trips out the opponent, because if they're gonna swing in, they could possibly get punished. Unfortunately, this does not trigger a battle, so it will literally just pop out, and then from there we're able to play a card with Liberator trait from your hand or trash without paying the cost. So this would be either our Tamers or our Digimon. Unfortunately, you can't play options off the back of that, but also it does well, it does have overclock, so if you do need a cheeky last swing, overclock is accessible on this Digimon. And on top of that, the inheritable is that once again further shrink the opponent's security by additional 2k, and that's obviously that Digimon. Then the little change here is going to be now rocking in with the 2 Shushumon from EX7. So obviously this is a very strong Shushu, because it means that obviously when Digivolving, we can, if we have one or fewer Tamers out on field, we're able to play an Orisa from hand without paying the cost, which is nice. But what we find is that this effectively will be able to play our Orisas out if it's propped from security, and realistically, sometimes it is just okay just to throw out a Tamer from hand without this effect, just because in this meta we don't want to give the opponent too much value off of our Digimon, being that, you know, if we are facing off with Gallantmon, if we don't have essentially a follow-up, effectively, yes, we have got a Tamer out, but if they've just managed to out our level 5 and we can't get to our level 6, then it's kind of a little bit wasted there, and we're just kind of a bit of an awkward predicament. On top of that, obviously it does have a cool inheritable, which is similar to the start deck, is further shrinking the Digimon that may sit in the opponent's security by additional 2k, which is fine. But the reason why we reduce that down is to come with the going to be a slight giveaway of what possibly could be that level 7 that we are rocking, and it is going to be the 2 Amekamon. So, let me tell you, Mekamon put a fight at the ball, absolutely evoed into the boy. But the reason why Mekamon is in this list, because this is essentially like a little bit of a trump card option that we do have. The glorious thing with a Mekamon is that it actually is a puppet traded Digimon. Granted, it is a 5 cost, so we can't effectively get it from our start deck shoe, but being that it's searchable is quite massive. It gives us another play line that we can use depending on obviously the game state, which is massive, because if on play, it is a blocker as well, so we can just throw it out and just be a blocker if necessary. But it does have an on play. If we're at 1 or less security, we can evo into an Omnimon X antibody from hand without paying the cost, which is a very powerful card, because this Digimon counts as X antibody. So the full effect of Omnimon X antibody is that we do a full board wipe and literally get bot deck one of their Digimon there as well, which once again really changes the game state where the opponent might think they're in full control, and we just whip out the Mekamon and shazam, it's absolutely just blitzed right there. So very saucy, spicy tech, really helpful in the deck. We run that at 2. So going over now to the ultimates. Ultimates had a little bit of reshuffle here. So we do run 3 of the Chaperone from EX7. Once again, still an amazing playmaker, without a doubt, because it does have a one Digivolving, is that we are able to play a level 3 Digimon with Puppet in trait from our hand without paying the cost, which once again is pretty huge. Obviously, we do manage to get our shoes out and all that good stuff, and it does also have Overclock. Its inheritable is super strong because it enables us to be a lot more sticky on the board, is that when the Digimon would leave the battle area, other than by one of our effects, we're able to trash a card with Puppet in trait or a token, a familiar token, to prevent it from leaving. Once again, really, really huge. Similar also with the Stardate Chaperone is that the reason why I still run this at 2 is because of the when Digimon effect, is that, you know, we're able to neg a possible 6k DP off yeah, 6k DP off the opponent's Digimon, which is once again huge, and that obviously depends on how many Digimon are on the field. If they don't have 3 Digimon in total, so I could literally have 2 Digimon here and they have 1, it only would delete up to 3k. But because of the promo issue line that we're obviously aiming to go into, we will most likely meet the condition that we're going to be deleting a 6k DP Digimon. Inevitable, similar to the Start Deck Chaperone. Now for the additional spicy tech, and this is definitely one of the techs that I can't fully say, oh, I found it. They already know in the comments who they are because they recommended this to me, and I had minds of it, but after testing, it's very solid. 2 Tamers Aces. So originally, obviously, I was testing the build with some form of aces. I had the Cendrillmon Ace, I had Magnamon Ace, Magna Angemon Ace. Let's get that right. And they was all great, but this right here really, really spicy and absolutely pushes Cendrillmon's DP deletion or DP minusing capabilities through the roof, which is once again really solid. So say obviously if it's our turn and we evo into our Tamers Ace, we are able to play a yellow a single colored option card from our hand without paying the cost, which leaves us in a lot of possibilities of what we can do here. Obviously, you are pretty much aware of the Tamers loop shenanigans, which they either pull out a scramble or they may pull out a plugin, let's just say. Obviously, for us, it's probably leaning towards the scramble in order for us to then evo into our level 6s, which is going to be massive because realistically, that's going to basically cost us 1 instead of costing us possibly 3 memory, which is huge, absolutely huge. If it's the opponent's turn and they swing in, we happen to ace, we are able to give them minus security attack 1, and then they also can't trigger when digivolving effects to the end of their turn, which is pretty huge. Depending on when this is triggered, if they've only got 1 Digimon out, it's going to be massive for them because effectively their play line is completely shot right there. If the opponent has 2 Digimon, and depending on what they've their memory, it may not be as potent as we would hope it would be. But regardless, just stopping them from doing when digivolving effects is huge. The good thing about this is also it has an inheritable when attacking, and this is not once per turn, guys. So this is where it really helps out the Cendrillmon to do really high DP minusing, is that we're able to minus 4000 DP off one of the opponent's Digimon. So we have options in order to obviously spread this about, focus on 1 Digimon. It is completely up to you, but having this capability and having this kind of turbo option in order for us to kind of climb up into our level 6s if we have the right option in hand is going to be pretty massive. Even just using this to evo into a Cendrillmon for what would, well, that's probably going to cost us 1 memory, means that we can get another body on field. If we have a start deck Orisa, we can suspend that to give that rush. We've got more swings on board, and we can also swing there as well. It's a lot of options and a lot of tempo that you can really swing with this ace. And this is the reason why I do run it at 2. I tried to run it at 1, and I felt like realistically, you're just never going to see it, or you're going to whiff on it. So 2, I see it just enough. So that concludes there for the Ultimates. Now go over to the Megas. Let's get it. So I want to thank everyone for massively helping out to achieve this goal. We run Cendrillmon at 4. We managed to get the 4 SPs, guys, because I am that Cendrillmon trainer for you guys, fully dedicated to the craft. So we already know what Cendrillmon does. Really, really strong card. Unfortunately, I wish it did cost less to evo into. If she were 3 cost, she'd be freaking amazing. But unfortunately, she is a 4 cost. And she does have access to Overclock, which is once again is a very powerful threat. Start of main, and when digivolving, we're able to play out a familiar token, which is great for us. And then when attacking, we are able to minus 6k off of the opponent's Digimon. The reason why this is strong, especially with the Tamers, is that we can comfortably delete, if we happen to keep turn, a 10k Digimon, and that's just Tamers and Cendrillmon alone. If we happen to have the promo shoe, that's 12k. That's literally 12k right there, which should delete most Digimon, which is awesome. And then if we obviously happen to overclock, we're able to, in essence, delete up to 23k Digimon, which once again is huge. Or we can obviously distribute that out. Really, really strong card. Definitely run it at 4. Might tempt to run it at 3 and run some more techs. And then we just simply go with the Cendrillmon at 2. Cendrillmon Ace is just a really good card in order for us to facilitate that game plan of leveraging the starter deck Orisa in order for us to give whatever we play out rush. And that is the thing here, is that rush element. And one thing that's really good with this Cendrillmon, if we happen to pull out the promo Shoo, we just get a massive amount of Digimon out on field, and depending on obviously how many start deck Orisas we have out, we can suspend those and give those rush. It can really just overwhelm the opponent, who may have thought, oh, we had like 2 swings, so I'm all good, to then suddenly having 4 swings going about. It's suddenly just like, I'm like, oh damn, I wasn't expecting this. And this is why I do like Cendrillmon Ace. Also as well, the neg on the DP to the end of the opponent's turn is huge, depending on how many other Digimon you have out on field, is massive and can really help out get rid of tough Digimon that just are really stubborn. But obviously Cendrillmon is a solid ace to have in. Obviously that alliance really does come clutch for that additional aggression. But let's go over to the level 7 who won the ball and is now Cendrillmon's prince in shining armor. 2 Omnimon X Antibody. Team France. You know how it is. So, very strong card in what this does. And granted, you can't actually Evo on top of these, unfortunately. There is going to be another video discussing possible other options, because we do have, you know, we could literally swap these out for Valcases. And Valcase is red, so it does meet the condition on that. It's completely up to you how you want to obviously pilot the deck. But the thing that I didn't want to kind of disrupt is this is a trump card. It's more the opponent thinks they've got me. Oh damn. And then I can throw out the Omecamon and then Evo into this for pretty much free. Well, technically for a cost of 5 in essence, because I'm paying 5 for the Omecamon. But the reason why this is just so strong, one, it's a 16k body. It's going to be, you know, opponent swings and security, boom, the trip to this, blam. That's cool. They're most likely maybe dead on that. But being able to essentially board clear the opponent's side, if we are 1 or less security, is a game changer. Because the thing that this does is that it goes into dual state by deleting the rest, deleting everything. The fact that it deletes everything, you'd think that'd be quite a negative thing. Depending obviously what our stack is, it can be quite negative. If we've got an ace, it's going to obviously pass over more memory. But realistically, this is going to be played to win game, or at least put them in an awkward predicament. Because we have the EX7 Orisa, that's not conditional to a way that it has to be deleted by your opponent's effects, versus the inevitable chaperone is that we can't protect ourselves from this effect if we do have a Mechamon / X antibody underneath. But because of the EX7 Orisa, we can suspend that to play out a level 3 puppet. So realistically, we could obviously have our Omnimon X antibody, let's just say 2 puppets out there as well, level 3s, and the opponent's got nothing. And we drop this bad boy out for the cost of 5 in essence, because we can't Evo into it. If we did use Valcase, effectively we could Evo into this for the cost of 6, which then would give us an additional swing, because the actual end of turn is that I'm able to grant one of our Digimon rush And then they may attack without suspending, which is once again very powerful. Also, let's talk about those keywords that we've got going on there. Raid, piercing, blocker. So then we have a 16k blocker out on field, which they have to out in order for them to somewhat win. So this amazing trump card. These are pretty much your main game plan. This has not changed at all. These have replaced the Shine Grey Aces. And you're probably thinking, well, Shine Grey Ace actually does help with the game plan. In order for you to get your Tamers out, get that aggression, and so forth. I kid you not, there wasn't many times that I used the Ace at all. Like, it just never necessarily came up, or even if I scrambled, it wasn't the card I'd pick in order to save me from a bind. So I'm just like, if it's not necessarily doing something, and it's not impactful enough in order for me to keep in the game, there's no point me running it. Yeah, okay, they may swing into my Digimon, but most Digimon have such a powerful when attacking effect, I don't even get the opportunity to ace. Being the issue. So having this is just like a trump card, like I'm down to the wire. I'm like, you know what? Time to just do an all delete on this bitch. I can throw out the Omecamon, yo, what good, and then shazam, go into this and absolutely just nuke the board. That is the logic behind this. But let me know in the comments what you think on that front. Like say, I will do another build which will focus on more the Val Ace package. So going over to now the options. Options pretty much remain the same. Obviously going to be our physical trainings, because obviously we do want to get that nice little bit of search, obviously kind of bank for our power plays and all that good stuff. We do rock in with the 2 scrambles, because it's an absolute gas if you manage to use this with your Talmon Ace, which is always fantastic. And then on top of that, if it's platform security, we can actually get our promo shoe to slow the opponent down, or we get out our searcher shoe to search out for some key pieces. You know what, we might just need a clutch Omnimon Ace, Omnimon X antibody, and we were able to search it out with our searcher shoe, which is always great right there. And then on top of that, you know, reducing that cost for Evos is always fantastic. And then we complement it all up with the 2 Vortex Resonance. So I did not have this at 1, because I did focus more on the yellow scrambles. I feel like this just has so much value now that we do have Omnimon X antibody in the list, because even if we do have like the perfect play lines and so forth, we can effectively use this to do a nice little search. We probably already have like the ultimate or the mega, but we can use this for the cost of free, because it would have cost us free to evo into it anyway, to effectively do a search free and get a Liberator card from the reveal, which is great. It means that we can search out our Omnimon X, we can search out our Omecamon, we can search out pretty much anything within our line, and then basically still evo into whatever we want to evo. Even it's in platform security, just helps us in regards to playing out either our promo shoe to get some nice board presence, play out a Tamer, which once again sets us up for more future plays from hand or trash. It's just a very good card. It's just a really solid card. Granted, you can't play it with Talmon, unfortunately. You can't, unfortunately, it's single color. So this ain't single colored, man, this has got 3 colors, so that ain't happening. But it's just a really good card for kind of that nice little bit of added consistency to really just search out our trump card and also execute our main game plan. So that concludes for the options. Now going over to the Tamers. Tamers, this was very, I did quite a few tests in regards to the ratios. People may not agree with me here, but I'm going to explain my reasoning why I've lent towards this. 3 of the Star Decorissa. I know people say you do not need 3, but I would agree. But this card is the difference between not having enough swings for game and having enough swings for game. Why would you not run this more? like this deck spews out so much free value. If we can get even more free value, then hell yeah, sign me up. For real. This I want to see so early and get it out. When I'm pushing out and I'm either into my promo shoe and I get a familiar token out, I want to swing with that familiar token. That's 2 swings that I got going on. And if it survives, and I happen to survive with my promo shoe and then evo into an EX7 Chaparral to then spew out another Digimon and overclock with that, that's 3 checks I have done. Climbing up, and I've got a body that's got barrier, and I'm good. And I've got a possible ace target that I can go to Cendrillmon ace if I need to. Really strong card, without a doubt. I tried it at 2, and I just wasn't seeing it early enough. So this is why I was like, I need 3. I need to go back to 3. I did have a 3-3 split, but due to deck space, I have lent to just 2 of the EX7 Erisa. And it was a very hard choice. It honestly was a hard choice. They're both great. They are both great, but you need to be starting at 3. Until we get a Cendrillmon that costs 3 and is good, I'd reduce it now. Because our Evo costs are just expensive at the moment, you need to see this early. You just get too much value off this when you have it early. And if you have more than 2 out, seriously, you've got so many swing opportunities that you can do. It is fantastic. On top of that, it's so strong in combination with Scramble. Like, really strong. The fact that you can just literally proc your Scramble, play out a Digimon, suspend this, give it rush, and then it can attack is great. Is really strong. So this is why I've gone with this ratio. This is still strong. It just means that if I'm searching for something and I see this, I have to pick this. Being thing versus if I search, I'll be like, you know what, I can sack that off, and I know I've got another 2 in coming up in that sense, which is fine. But this is why I've gone with this ratio, because my deck is leaning towards, the main game plan is leaning towards that heavy aggression early on to put the opponent in an awkward predicament that they have to kind of make plays that they don't want to make. That's where Cendrillmon strengths are, is making it very awkward for them to be like, oh god, I've got to react, I've got to try and out their board, and then we can kind of clap back if necessary. This is helpful in order, like, just having 2 of these out is just great. Just boom boom done, because it means that you're going to be always starting at 4, which is great. If you happen to have 2 of these out and that out, you're even more in a better position right there, which we love. It just means that we can effectively recycle out our familiar tokens. If they do die, we happen to then suspend that, play out, I don't know, this shoe, and then get able to get a search, and then we might be able to search into this, or we might be able to search into the Omecamon. You know what I mean? It's just, once again, really good for us to kind of line up a nice little cheeky last gambit play while still just doing our main kind of core play, being heavy aggro, nice little bit of control, and hopefully getting that dub. So that concludes for the Tamers and the depth list. Let me know if this is a fairy tale wedding. There you go, guys. Version 1 of the Cendrillmon list for 2.5. So, you probably wasn't expecting Omnimon X antibody. But the good thing about actually Omnimon and also the Omecamon is that they are Liberator trait, and also Omecamon is a puppet trait. So, in terms of consistency, you know, me just using essentially my Shumon or my Vortex Resonance, it massively helps. Like, it doesn't struggle me searching out those cards, and I have literally a trump card that I can just throw out and obliterate the whole board. Because if I either on top of, say, a red Digimon level 6, which obviously Valk Ace is an alternative option if you're not going to be using Cendrillmon, effectively I'm only getting the kind of the bot deck effect off one of their Digimon. But if I'm going with that nice trump card, as long as my security is at 1 or less, I'm then able to throw that out for 5, Evo for 3, blow up their board. I think the cool interaction, if you do have a wide board already and you just need that one more extra swing in your, obviously your security is like 1 to 0, is that effectively I can blow up my board, you know, etc. But because a puppet Digimon is deleted, I'm able to suspend my Orisa in order to get a puppet Digimon level 3 out on the field off of that. So gives me nice little options in terms of like, I've nuked your board, but I've still got quite a hefty board presence there if they do happen to clap back. Even though that's Cendrill's game plan, I've not necessarily had much of an issue in regards to, you know, running for EX7 Cendrill and then using True Beam on Ace. They are pretty solid in terms of what they do. Obviously, the main premise of the deck is still focusing on that aggro, still focusing on cards being played by card effects, or effects, so which then effectively I'm able to suspend my start deck Orisa and then give that rush. You know, that game plan is still solid, it's still aggro based, but just having a alternative option in my hand, which is easy to grab, is really nice. Obviously, the Tamers is definitely saucy in regards to the inheritable not being once per turn, meaning that Cendrill's minus DPing capabilities is increased even further, to the point where it's 20k. If I happen to swing and also overclock, which is huge. But obviously with the overclock, if I delete a familiar token, that's 23k, which is massive. Or I can distribute it out and use Tamer's effect to effectively delete a 8k Digimon and then use Cendrill's to delete a 12k. So there's a lot of capability in terms of that control and then that aggro, which really helps out. And just the turbo play that is possible from Tamers is pretty huge. You know, the perfect combos, say if I'm also going to push out, I have a training in the back, boom, training onto my level 4, go into Tamers, use Tamer's effect to then play a yellow option, which I'm going to play a scramble, and then effectively I can use that to go into either True Ace or into Cendrill, which effectively will summon me out something. Or if I have to then go and kind of delete a body or at least put some minus DP on, so when it does pass over they might possibly die, at least Cendrillmon kind of fills that slot there as well, which is just that turbo efficiency and also gives Cendrillmon some further kind of control elements there as well. And depending on the stack, say if I have a promo shoe and then also the Tamers, effectively I can put it up to 6k on a swing, whilst obviously triggering alliance and doing all that good stuff. So a lot of capability that I can be doing with these cards, and like I say, still experimental, but they are very solid in what they do and really facilitate the game plan. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and all the sauce. If you did, make sure you smash it with a like as standard, really helps out with the channel. And guys, stay safe, stay fly, and I'll catch you in the next one. D Dread, off the mic.